Hey people, it is almost midnight here. I don't know how many people will actually tune in for this while I'm doing it here because it is really late at night. But I'm bored, so I figured I'd go live for anybody that was bored or last minute Christmas wrapping and you're up until 3 a.m. or whatever. I had nothing to wrap this year, which made me sad. But I'm one of those strange people that actually loves. Hi, Victoria. Victoria, what the hell are you doing up at midnight? I actually love wrapping Christmas presents. You know, I know I'm weird. Hey, Tammy. Merry Christmas. But John and I had a tradition where we would be the first ones to wish each other a Merry Christmas on Christmas. Um, Usually at midnight or 1 o'clock or whatever. Like if we randomly woke up, we hadn't done it ahead of time, and we randomly woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. We text each other with Merry Christmas. So the first thing we saw when we woke up was Merry Christmas. So I wanted to share that with my friends this year. And I've got 4 minutes to go, and it will be midnight here. So for people that don't have a lot of family around them or anything, or whose family is already sleeping, which kids should be, right? Um, yeah, I figured I'd share that with you. Todd's making baklava, and I'm keeping him company. He's almost done. Oh, good thing you don't have to wake up early in the morning, Victoria. You wait until you have grandkids there, though. You'll be up at 4 a.m. Can we open presents? Can we open presents? You know, I've tried baklava. I don't know if it's baklava has walnuts in it, right? It has some kind of nut in it. I'm not a big fan of baklava. You would think I would because it's really sweet, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't had good baklava. So feel free to send me some. Yeah, walnuts. I'm not a big fan of walnuts. You waited until now to make baklava. I'll tell you what, Victoria. I actually watched your short. I know I always bitch about people putting shorts up, but I watched your short of the other side of things when Jordan showed up, and it made me cry too. I was so happy for you. Oh, it reminds you of see, I don't like pecan pie. I think maybe because I was raised up north. We didn't pecan pie wasn't a big thing for my family. What kind of pies did they make for Christmas? No, it was happy tears, Victoria. I mean, it was kind of a combination though because my kids, you know how they are. So it made me sad that I can't hug my kids, but it made me really happy that you could. But we had apple pie, apple crumb pie, pumpkin pie, and then my grandmother's house. My aunt always made cherry pie, blueberry pie, more apple pie, more pumpkin pie, and mincemeat. Oh, I did not like mincemeat pie at all. Um, ugh. But they finally stopped making blueberry pies because my uncle kept dropping the pie on himself, and he'd get all his clothes would get all stained up. My aunt would get so mad. I think he did it on purpose because he didn't really like blueberry pie. So they finally stopped making that. But yeah, the cherry pie was good. But yeah, now that I think back at it, I have never seen so many pies in one place that wasn't a bakery. you know. Okay, so yeah, we were going through on my live this morning. We were well, I was going through childhood Christmas memories. I forget what keyed it off, but something did, and it reminded me of things that happened when I was a kid for Christmas. And it was a lot of fun. Whoop, it's midnight here. Merry Christmas, everybody. Ha! I got to do it first. Unless Victoria just ran off to tell Todd Merry Christmas. Oh, yeah, she's usually on her phone. Merry Christmas, Todd. I do hope everybody has a happy and safe holiday, and you know, enjoys your time for those that are able to spend it with family. I wish all the best for everybody. I don't wish too many people ill will. There are some people I wish would fall off the planet, but it's a very small number, for the most part. I wish good things for everybody. Good things. My mom was in a panic again today because she lost power again this morning, and it was out for probably about 6 hours. And they got notified um, that people should not use excessive electricity in the morning because apparently there's a strain on the power grid in my mom's section of town. There were 11,000 people in my town that did not have power yet this morning. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Yet I live in the poor side of town and my power's fine. So, I should not jinx myself. But she had just put her apple pie in the oven this morning when the power went out. Yeah, craziness. But my daughter Kayla was there when I called, so my mom kind of brushed me off the phone. But yeah, she called me back later, and I asked, told me the power came back on, so she's able to finish her pies. And she doesn't know how good the apple pie is going to be because, of course, just got it started, and she left it in the oven, so it was in the oven while the oven was cooling down. And then it was in the oven when the power came back on, so it was in the preheating stages and all that. I don't know, but and bad news from my son. Well, not bad, but sad news from my son is that he's not going to be able to go to he was not able to go to my mom's today or tomorrow. Apparently he had to walk home last night from work in that frigid temperatures, and he was soaking wet because he's the one that ends up having to do dishes and whatnot at work. And of course, he got completely soaked. So his shoes were wet, his feet were wet, pants were wet. So my son was singing soprano on the way home. I don't know exactly how far from work from how far away from home he is when he's at work, but the wet shoes and walking that far in the cold actually cracked the bottom of his heel. So he doesn't want to walk on it as much as possible. It's got to heal up before he has to go to work on Monday. It's not going to heal that fast, but hopefully it will be enough that he'll be able to make it to work. So unfortunately, he's going to miss Christmas with them. I mean, I'm sure he'll get a good holiday meal because one of his roommates is a chef and she does the cooking especially on holidays. So he'll have good food, but he won't. It's the first Christmas he's missed at my mom's house since he was a kid. So that's kind of sad. I feel bad for him. But Kayla did actually make it there today, and that made my mom happy. So that's a good thing. Yeah. And walking home in that cold weather, being wet, he's not feeling well either. So he's hoping he's not coming down with a cold from the results of that. I mean, it was like 10 degrees out last night. Ugh, cannot even imagine walking in that. And my son does not have a winter jacket, to let you know. The only thing he has is like a hoodie or a zipper sweatshirt. He doesn't and his work uniform, which is not warm enough. So he loves cold temperatures. He'll be out there in 20 degrees with shorts and a muscle shirt on. He's definitely got northern blood. He was like, "It's great. It's cold." Oh, like you did did you do that last year too? Because I remember watching a video like that. It was so cool. Welcome back, Victoria. Merry Christmas. Tell Todd I said Merry Christmas. And Baxter, give him an extra little bone. Sibby got one of her dog cookies today. I surprised her with it because while she was eating, I rolled my way into the studio where the cookie box is, and of grabbed one of her cookies and put it in the little pocket in the back of the wheelchair, so she didn't know I had it. So when I came back in my room, she jumps up on the bed and she sitting there and just looking at me. I put my phone, took my phone out of the pocket and took everything out I needed, and I reached back in the pocket and grabbed the cookie and tossed it to her. And she's just looking at me like, cause she, it flew like right past her head and she didn't see what it was. And I was like, go get it, go get it. And she came over to me and I'm like, no, I don't. Sometimes she's too smart and sometimes she's like, so I had to tell her to go to bed because I had thrown it in her spot. So whatever I tell Simi, get to bed, she goes to that spot. And she found the cookie and she got so excited. She's so cute. So she wagged her tail the whole time she was eating it and then looked at me like I was going to give her another one. I'm like, don't be greedy. I'll give her another one tomorrow. I have to be careful with how many treats she gets because food that she's not used to, like, she gets an upset stomach. But it's Christmas, so she can have another one tomorrow. I do not give her treats every day because she would be too fat to get up on the bed. But we do have to keep her chunky butt in shape, and that's what I call her, chunk of butt. Victoria's like, show yourselves. Victoria, I do want to thank you for the concert. It was beautiful, and you sang the song that I picked amazingly well for it being, a different type of music, and you never having heard the song before. You did it amazing. I had tears. That song always makes me cry because it's how things should be. Everybody from all faiths should be able to get along, and it you did an amazing job, and kudos to you, and I hope your voice is okay today. Well, yesterday, you know what I mean. But yeah, it was beautiful. Thank you. You did good. And to all of our YouTube community who's been doing giveaways for Christmas and everything, you've been so generous and amazing. To everybody that's been gifting people to things, this community just amazes me. It really does. I don't think I've ever been involved in a group of people that have been so good to each other. I mean, yeah, we get our trolls and our jerks, but we all band together and get rid of them real quick too. You know what I mean? And we back each other up, and it's just, you want to do it again? Well, you feel free to do it anytime you want to. Yeah, this group of people is amazing, and I feel very blessed that I'm a part of it. I really do. You have all kept me as sane as possible. I won't say you've kept me sane because we all know I'm not quite there, but a little bit of crazy is okay. And the generosity I had, Christy S in Iowa is sending me some Brevecto for Simi because I've been having such a hard time getting the fleas out of here, and the over-the-counter stuff is just doesn't seem to be as effective. These fleas are getting resistant to stuff, so she was like, "Oh, I'm going to send you some Brevecto," and I'm like, "Oh my god, thank you," because it is kind of pricey and I can't afford it. And she was like, "Nope, done." No, Victoria, you're definitely not in that category. And we love you all the more because of it. So, she's helping me take care of my baby, and I fully appreciate that. I've had people give me gift gift cards to Walmart. I've had angels do food order. It just, it's so nice. I can't fit anything else in my freezer right now. Robin, Merry Christmas, honey. Psst, Merry Christmas, you too. And it's been a long time since my freezer was packed like that, and it's little things like that that make me happy. And a lot of people don't think about that. They go grocery shopping, they get their food, they put it away. It's a normal thing for most people, and for me, I usually have only like one or two things in my freezer, and it's a small freezer, and it still echoes. And love you, Robin. So to have it packed like that, that I actually had to rearrange things again. I couldn't get the door closed. My freezer door popped back open. I was like, "What?" So it's nice to actually have food, things like that. I mean, my holidays for my kids wasn't great. Birthdays and holidays, John and I couldn't do much for them, then I couldn't do much for them. But we always made sure we had a decent, dinner for the holidays or birthdays, whether it was going out to eat or cooking at home. So I just felt bad we couldn't do the technical good stuff, you know what I mean? Like quote unquote good stuff like presents and things like that. We just didn't have the money. But we did always make sure that we made a good holiday meal. Till Easter showed up and started ruining the food. But my kids were older by then too anyway, so um, I just feel bad I couldn't give them the same kind of memories I have from when I was a kid, but could only do what you could do. You know what I mean? So, but it is little things like having a freezer full of food. I mean, my fridge kind of still echoes, but that's fine. Hey, Jen, Merry Christmas, Larry. Larry? What are you doing up? It's not time for you to get up yet. Merry Christmas, Larry. So, yeah, I strolled down memory lane this morning, and I told people I might come live Christmas Eve. I don't know, and here we are. So, Victoria, that's what I said about you. I'm like, wow. People making last minute goodies and doing last minute wrapping, and people that are bored or can't sleep. I actually slept for 5 hours today. I hadn't slept since Wednesday, so that's probably why. Um, oh, Victoria's awake because Todd is making baklava, and Victoria is keeping him company. Todd's famous Christmas baklava. Victoria, I love you. Don't interrupt him when he's making baklava. Uh, that was awesome. First Billy laugh of Christmas of Christmas. uh, that was good. You get up about this time. I thought you got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning or something. You watch some weather. It's dark out. You can't watch weather. I do worry about my mom though. These rolling blackout things that she's been getting are kind of scary because she was without power for like 12 hours day before yesterday, and my daughter and the kids took the dog and evacuated to my daughter's boyfriend's house, but my mom was home because she was like, I don't want to leave my house. And I mean, the woman has survived going through blizzards and everything, but we had a fireplace and could keep warm. Her fireplace is gas, but she hasn't used it in years, so she was afraid to light it. I have advised her to definitely get that serviced after Christmas when they're not going to charge you triple rates, and make sure that it's functioning because, with weather trends like they're going, she might have to use it. And I want her to be able to stay warm, But she was more worried about getting her pies baked than being cold. She just layered up and snuggled under blankets and grabbed the little dog because she's got a giant mouse like Victoria. Bye, Robin. Have an awesome Christmas, honey. Love you, girl. I'll be going live randomly during Christmas Day, so feel free to pop in and say, hey, you know. Sorry, I'm trying to reach something. It's not easy. It's not easy being cheesy. The grabber does not like to move heavy things. I'm trying to get a bottle of soda because I was dumb, and when I could reach them, I didn't. But, yeah, I don't know who all is going to be. Yes, it is, Larry. It's Christmas. That's why I went live like 5 minutes before midnight. I'm sharing John and I's tradition of wishing people Merry Christmas right as Christmas starts. Soda. Because John and I used to do that for each other. Hey, Michelle. And I wanted to share it with everybody because he's not here for me to do it with him. Although when I was lighting my candles, I did wish him Merry Christmas. So I guess I knew Victoria was going to show up. I had my candles lit ahead of time. Oh. Yeah, Victoria, everybody's been talking about your concert and how awesome it was. Good night, Victoria. Merry Christmas. I hope you and Todd have an awesome Christmas. Tell your mom we said Merry Christmas too. I say we, I mean me and Simi, of course. Festivities all over there, Michelle, yeah. Because you're way ahead of us. But love you too, Victoria. I actually watched Thomas's short too today, tonight that he put out because it was like Tom and his crow, and I'm like, what is this? Anything with an animal in it, except for the normal dog and cat things. Those are overdone, but crow is an unusual thing. So I looked, and it's Thomas showing off his bird, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. So yep. I do occasionally watch them. Just I'm over the whole dog and cat video thing. Had your animal glass of Moscato. Nice. Yeah, I haven't had any alcohol in about 6 years. Not missing it. You know what I mean? I'm by myself, and I never drink by myself, so it's kind of like not a thing with me. But if there was the opportunity to be like with friends and stuff, yeah, then I'd have a little something, you know. But I don't have any in real life, like in person, so that's not a possibility. So, wow, there are 14 people here. Midnight on Christmas Eve. Nice. Hopefully there are no children up and around them because even on Christmas, you know I'm going to be a cussing motherfucker. Sorry, had to. Had to. People's kids will be like, is Santa fucking coming or not? Cody said so. Not my fault. Seriously, I'm a bad influence. Don't leave me around children. Orlando is 33, cold wind chill. 30 is cold, 33 wind chill. My weather, when I look at it, doesn't give me a wind chill. It tells me what the wind is, but it doesn't give me a wind chill. 22 degrees. It is 22 degrees right now, and the wind, it says 12 miles an hour. Humidity is 80%, but precipitation is 0. So, not raining. Yeah. "22 is way too cold for South Carolina. Mm-mm. Way too cold." You prefer to be the driver? Yeah. Well, I mean, I used to hang with my friends at a bar, and we played pool and stuff like that, and most of us probably should not have been driving. Not gonna lie, we were not all that responsible, but because we all brought our own vehicles to get there. So brother and niece are visiting the U.S. for a basketball tour. Oh, very cool. They're in Ohio. Well, they're cold. Yeah, I'm telling you, wow, half of the people that were in here just disappeared. Guess they're done. First snow and first blizzard. Yeah, welcome to United States, America. Someone gave Jack Frost some meth or something. He is jacked up his ass. Hi, Joyce. Merry Christmas. Yeah, I mean, like pretty much every part of the country. When I looked at what did I look up a couple of days ago? Temperatures in the U.S. and it showed like the whole map of the U.S. and all of it is cold. I mean, Florida was the warmest, I think, but it was still at the time was like 70 degrees, and for Florida, that's cold. Jeez, 103. Whew. See, that's too hot. Mm-mm. Now, see, normally I get a little irritated, kind of one of those eye roll and oh, not this again when people bitch about temperatures. Um, because anybody that's lived in their area for any amount of time and have gone through the seasons, temperature changes are normal. So people bitching about cold in the winter is kind of dumb, and people bitching about hot in the summer is dumb, because hello, it's the winter and the summer. It's going to be hot and cold. But when you have something like this that has affected the entire U.S. and the temperatures are unusually cold, yeah, it's a lot more understandable to talk about it a lot. Oh, it's 73 where you are. God, that would be a heat wave here right now. Inside with the air conditioning. I don't blame you, Michelle. I would be too. I'd be like, nope, that's nope weather. I'm not going out in it. That's like when it's cold here. It's like even the dog is like out. My dog today ran outside, peed really fast, faster I ever seen her pee before, and come running right back in. I was like, yeah, she's done. Larry, heat wave of two. Yeah, that polar vortex shit just is affecting the entire country. It's crazy. And people have died because of this weather, so it's kind of scary. That's why I was worried about my mom being in a really cold house, at her age. But she refused to leave, and I'm like, "Well, what are you going to be able to do if the power doesn't come on? I mean, why are you staying home?" And she's like, "I can still clean." I'm like, "Oh, good lord." That's what my weather places said. Is it was polar vortex was coming down. What I feel really bad for is people that live in southern states where they're used to it being, I mean, a little chilly, but not, I mean, like 40s and 50s is cold for like Texas and California, things like that. But their temperatures have dropped so bad, that they're kind of all like, what do we do? Start burning the furniture. Well, according to all the news things I saw on Google, when I said, why do we have extremely low temperatures? It said polar. So, I mean, Siberia is in Russia, and that's not even attached to our continent. So, I don't see how it could be from Siberia. It would have had to cross the ocean first. That kind of doesn't make sense in my brain. Although they are close to Alaska. So it could have come across that way, but it still would have to. Well, Larry's had a lot of snow, haven't you, Larry? And we all yelled at him because he was going to go out while the weather was bad, so he stayed home because it's not worth risking his life for a few bucks. You're not boring my guests. Yeah, it did drop, but I mean it's 12:30 here. Well, in on the East Coast it's 12:30 a.m. So people got to get to bed so they can wake up early with kids and stuff. Yeah, it's temperatures are crazy. Hopefully they regulate themselves. People come and go in my chats, Michelle. It's not a big thing. It's okay. If there was even one person here, I'd still be going because apparently, obviously somebody needs to be here. So yeah, yeah. Florida's managed to maintain warmish weathers, but for Florida, that 73 is still cold. Especially if it's people in Florida that are used to the hot weather. Okay. Well, just if your weather gets real bad, or you've got to watch out for black ice too. So just be careful, Larry. Because I spent a winter in Florida, um, really close to where, well, it was in the same town Victoria was living in, and it dropped to like, I don't know, 70 something, and I was outside smoking a cigarette, wearing t-shirt and sweatpants, and people from Florida were coming over with jackets on and things like that, and they're like, "Aren't you cold?" And I'm like, "No, I'm from Massachusetts." Like, this is nothing. This is, you know, Indian summer weather. But yeah, eh, yeah, pretty much everything is closed. I mean, Chinese food restaurants are open, and I really wish I could have Chinese food, but um, most everything is closed. I don't know if gas stations are open. I'm I'm really hoping that they are, because if my mom manages to get over here today, I need her to go to the gas station for me, because I'm almost out of cigarettes. I have the little stubs that I save when my cigarette goes out, or I can't smoke the whole thing or whatever. I stub them out and I save them so that when I run out of cigarettes, I still have, that little cushion there. But I'm almost out of those too. So it is, yeah, definitely, Michelle. It is like I wouldn't be able to handle going to like anywhere near Death Valley or Arizona, Nevada, places where the temperatures get up to like your temperatures. I mean, they're like 100 degrees or something. I'm like, no. My perfect temperature is around 75 degrees. I'm comfortable at 75 degrees. I get between 75 and 80. I hit 80 and I start getting too hot because I have a tendency to get heat sick. Um, and I dehydrate really quickly now. My system is all out of whack. But anything lower than 75, between 75 and 70, I'm okay. But anything lower than 70, and I'm like, But if it gets too hot, I also have problems breathing. So people are like, "Oh, move to Hawaii." I'm like, "Yeah, I can afford Hawaii." And I've seen TV shows out of Hawaii, and everybody is sweating like a bitch. I'm like, And I'm a redhead. There's way too much sun in Hawaii. Yeah, Joyce, they'll be going and grabbing gas station presents for last minute gifts and stuff. Around here, the gas stations are probably open because, well, damn, we ran out of beer. We got to go get more. Merry Christmas. Yeah, I'm hoping they are. But I also, for anybody that watches this, good morning, Barbara. Well, your location, it's not really morning yet, but Merry Christmas because it's Christmas here right now. It's 12:30. um, what was I saying? Oh yeah. I also want to thank people who dropped Angel Bucks into my PayPal. You have no idea how much that helps me out. Um, I actually have enough that I'll be able to do a grocery pickup order for the few things that I need. I don't need too much now because someone sent me food. Had food delivery done, but I do other little things that you know need to be picked up, and I'll be able to do a curbside, so my mom won't actually have to go in the store. So that helps her out too, and that's awesome. Y'all have no idea how much I appreciate all of you. Just your presence, not because people, send me things or help me out with money or whatever, because that would just be rude. It's like I like all of you, but I like some people better. No, it's has nothing to do with that. I appreciate your presence in my life. I really do. Y'all have absolutely no idea how much. I can't talk about it too much because I'll cry. I don't want to cry. I cry enough regularly. I don't need to do it today. Yeah, my cats don't like the cold either. Okay, here's my situation that happened early this morning. Well, early Saturday morning. Like I said, I hadn't slept since Wednesday, so I was still awake, but I was exhausted. It was absolutely freezing in my room. Now, my room usually stays a little colder than the rest of the house. Hi, Tracy Cakes. Merry Christmas. Um, my room is usually colder than the rest of the house because I'm in an enclosed space and I only have one heater vent open. The other one is covered with boxes because they didn't pay attention when they moved my stuff into the house. Um, so, I'm like, why is it so cold in here? Because I could hear the heater working. So I knew that my heat hadn't broke, which has happened in the past. So I'm like, why is my room so cold? So I was actually, my thermostat is set at 70. And I was ready to, go out there and jack the heat up to hell with the bill, which is going to be sky high. I will cry about that later. Um, but I decided to check the vent because sometimes the cats knock things off of things or pull things out of a box. It falls on the floor, covers the vent. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to check the vent, make sure the vent's clear. So the effort I have to make to get to the other end of my bed, because I sit at like the bottom part of my bed, and the heater vent is up towards the top part of my bed. Because yeah, my bed kind of free floats in the middle of the storage unit I live in, surrounded by boxes. You're welcome, Barbara. So what I had to do is I had to clear everything out of my way, like my pillow and blanket and stuff like that. I had to clear that out of my way. Then I have to lay on my side and kind of haul myself sideways. Now I am a very large person, so this takes a lot of effort. I can't actually just crawl because I have arthritis in my knees, and putting any kind of weight on them like that, not happening. So I pull myself across the room, across the bed. Dog's looking at me like I'm insane. Um, and I look, and there is a huge box on top of my heater vent. I have no idea how that got there. I didn't put it there because that would be stupid. And I'm not a stupid person. So, and the last time I was over at that end of the bed was to sort through things and move things away from the heater vent because cold weather was coming and I knew I needed that vent clear. So I definitely would not have put this giant box on top of the heater. So I'm like, well, I'm moving this, right? So I go to grab it, and the thing weighs like 100 pounds. Not literally, but that's what it felt like. And I'm like, oh, shit. Now I'm laying sideways on the bed, which was angled kind of diagonally. So I wasn't like right on the edge of the bed because that's dangerous. But there was no room to put my good leg down to use my foot for leverage to lift. And I'm trying to lift the damn box one handed. Yeah, it wasn't working. I had to grab two empty boxes that were floating around in the area and empty the box while I'm laying sideways, one handed. Empty the box with all the stuff, put it in the other boxes, then get those boxes organized and find a place to put those, and then I could get the box out of there. This was like a 24 by 24 box. I mean, it was gigantic. I'm like, how did I even move this in the first? I did not put this here. And I'm like looking at the cats, going, I know you guys are assholes, but even you couldn't do this. And then underneath the box was two folded up 30-gallon trash bags. I'm like, what? So I had to move those out of the way. I'm like, and they were folded. So, and which is what I do with garbage bags that I can reuse. I fold them up nice and neatly. I know I'm weird. And, put them somewhere. Well, I know I didn't put it over my vent. Again, that would be stupid. So I did get the vent cleared, but it was a project. And my back is definitely not liking me today. But my room did start warming up, and the cats flocked. I had a cat on either side, like the lions that are in the front of the library in New York. Yeah, my cats were like that on either side of on the stacks of boxes on either side of the vent. So they were like, oh, warm, because they were crowding me with it being so cold. I had cats like on me, and I don't, get off me. So yeah, and the dog was like right on the edge of the bed, as close to the heat as she could get, because she's short haired. She doesn't like the cold. I'm like, adventures with Cody. But the good news is I did not have to go jack my heat up. So and I found a bunch of stuff I forgot I had. So, there's that. Yeah. Seriously, I mean, I found a lot of wooden stuff at some point, like, I don't know, 15 years ago or so. I bought a bunch of unpainted wooden things, like picture frames. I got a jewelry box. Little wooden Christmas ornament things, and I found some fabric, all kinds of stuff in there. And so yeah, I was like, wow, look at that! I found all kinds of stuff I can sell, because we know I'm never going to get any of this done. So yeah, I did find that. And now, of course, the cats think all the new stuff in boxes is stuff for them. So, like, but matter of fact, my bitchy cat, the killer cat, she's actually laying on some of the stuff that I pulled out of the other box and threw on the top of, because I have a box that doesn't have the flap, so it doesn't close, and there was room in it. So, given the angle and what I could reach at the time, I was just grabbing stuff out of the full box and putting it kind of behind me into that box, and she's now laying in that box. Like, yeah, I did that just for you. Comfy, My life is crazy, but but yeah, it seems like anytime I want to try and do something, there's like 18 things I have to do before I can do what I want to do. Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah. And it's funny because while I was saying that, she got up, turned around, and readjusted how she was laying down, and then laid back down. I'm like, as long as you're happy, cat. Yeah. I should be a bitch and wake her up, because earlier today she made me bleed while I was on my live. She come bouncing across my bed and missed hitting the bed next to my leg, and she caught my leg and like ripped skin off and stuff. It still hurts. Through blood. I'm like, damn, cat, you made me bleed Christmas Eve. What the hell? She's had those paws for how long, and she still can't control them. I don't know. Although we do give Mardi Gras a break once in a while, because she does have one blind eye. So her depth perception is not always the best. Like when she jumped off the box behind me a couple days ago and landed on my back. She meant to hit the bed behind me, and she got me instead. Like, I don't go anywhere, and nobody comes here. And yet my life is never really boring, to the point where, unless the animals are sleeping, which is always nice. They're always amusing me or irritating me or something. But my life's a mess. Fun with Cody. And Marty is planted in the box, or Onyx is planted in the box in front of the window, which is like right next to the where the heat is coming up. Yeah, they are like toddlers. Well, these cats are only 3 years old, so they are actually toddlers. Fat, annoying toddlers with 4 feet and sharp claws. Yeah. But the dog has actually yep. The dog has actually been regulating the cats if they're doing something she knows I don't want them to do. Like I've yelled at them a million times for doing it. She'll actually go over and be like, I'm gonna at the cat, and it will startle the cat, and they'll stop doing it, and then Simmy goes and lays back down. Um, Marty has a thing about clawing up my wheelchair arms, and which makes it very uncomfortable to use the wheelchair. I've had to duct tape the thing 3 times, 3 or 4 times now, and so today, while I was doing my live this morning, Marty starts clawing up the wheelchair. And I was like, like this. And the dog jumps off the bed and actually grabbed her foot. She jumped off the bed, put her front feet on the wheel of the wheelchair, leaned up and grabbed the cat's foot because she knew what the cat was doing and why I didn't want her doing it. It was so funny. The look on the cat's face was priceless. So Cindy is my cat regulator. She does that whenever Onyx starts clawing up a box. Because see, Onyx will shred cardboard. Onyx is big on shredding cardboard. I mean, it looks like I live in a storage unit that's been through a shredder. I can't wait to get rid of cardboard boxes and use regular totes. It's a slow process. Yeah, nanny pup. But Marty will go for the furniture. Marty will claw up the furniture. And after Christmas, me and my mom are going to start clearing this stuff out of my room and putting the stuff in the storage room so that I have space in my room. And we're getting that 6-foot cat tree in here so that they have something they can claw up. I will catnip that fucker so that they will only want to go on that. And then maybe my wheelchair will be safe. Craziness with animals, man, but they're worth it. I mean, they keep me company, so that's good. And Timmy is kind of yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the cat tree. When John got the cat tree, the man insisted on getting this gigantic 6-foot cat tree. His wife was not happy because the thing cost $70. It's huge. Marty claimed it the first thing. She was right up on the top of it, surveying her, her kingdom, and that's her spot. The toxic twins that we had living here used to throw things at it, like they'd throw stuff on it to hold so it's wobbly, and there's no way for me to fix it. But hopefully, it won't fall apart. And the cats really don't mind it because they have been on it since then. But those two didn't have respect for anything, and unfortunately, I couldn't get it out of the room. There was no place to put it. So, because the reason it was in that room in the first place is because that was used as kind of a TV room. John had his space TV set up in there and the couch and everything because they were living in the living room because it was bigger. And they had, the two of them and Talon. And Issa's a slob. So it was them two, Talon, and all her crap. There was no room for any kind of couch or anything. So, like, that room became the living room. Since John spent most of his time in there, and we would open the connecting door because this house, if we open all the doors in the house, like the internal doors, you can walk around in a big circle and go to all parts of the house. So I have a connecting door between my room and the room next door. So we would close the outer door to that room next door and open the middle door, and the cats would go back and forth so John could visit with his cat. And yeah, that was Marty's spot, was that cat tree. She loves that thing. So I can't wait to get that in here, and she can be in that far away from my bed so she won't be jumping from there to my bed, which she would do. Yeah. But John and I put that cat tree together. It was not easy. It was not easy at all. I'm like, some assembly required. Fuck you. We had to put the whole damn thing together. And that was when he was in the wheelchair. So um, basically, I put it together and he just held the pieces still. So I could screw all the pieces together. And there was the very top little tray thing I couldn't do because it's a 6-foot cat tree and I'm 5'5". So I couldn't see it to be able to do it. He couldn't reach it to hold it. So the little tray thing's on the bottom of it. But it does have 2 things up there that she can sit in. Oh, good night, Barbara. I hope you have a peaceful Christmas. I know you said you were going to be by yourself, so I hope it's peaceful. And I will be live during the day, so feel free to pop in and say hey. Excuse me. I feel like I was the one singing. My voice is like bleh. Night, Larry. Merry Christmas. Feel free to pop in tomorrow if you see me live. I don't know who all is doing lives. Usually it gets announced in everybody's chat, and the only one I saw announcing a live for later today was me. But there's always somebody alive. So if I'm not in somebody else's live, I'll try and go live. Now my mom did say that she was going to try and come by, and she usually does dinner about 1:00. So by the time she does cleanup and family leaves, probably be around 3. So if I'm live at the time and my mom shows up, I'll leave my chat open. I'll leave the live going, but y'all are on your own because I'm going to get food. My mom's going to bring me food. She's like, I'll bring the food and presents over. And I'm like, ooh, presents. So I'll be opening that because she always likes to see me open my presents. And then I'll be back. But I will leave the chat open for people. Oh, cool, Tracy. See, there's always somebody that's going. You know what I mean? And that's good. I'm very glad that there are people that go live because there's so many. Oh my God, I'm not even subscribed to you. How am I? I thought I was subscribed to you. Damn YouTube. There we go. Now I'm subscribed and I clicked the bell. So YouTube takes away subscriptions. Hate that. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Sometimes I have a hard time with chats because of my hands. But because of the nerve pain in my hands, it makes it painful to type. But you never know when I'm there being amused by people playing around in the chats. I tried to leave mine open just for chats for people one day, and everybody's like, "Where's Cody? Get Cody over here. Where's Cody? Cody, get on the stream." I'm like, "Oh my God." Yep, lurking. I lurk. Sometimes I lurk. Yeah, I have neuropathy in my hands. So, and I don't have any medication for it. I like live in my compression gloves, which do actually help a little bit. But a friend of mine had lupus, so I know that's painful. I also have arthritis in my hands, so I got a double whammy, but that's why I haven't been able to do any crafting. My hands have been so bad lately. Yeah. It's cool though that even though you're busy, you're going to leave your chat open for people. That's awesome. Yeah, I do. I do. And yeah, I pay for it for the rest of the day. But there was the one day I moderated for Ella in the morning, and then I moderated for Hartley and Picker that night. and his went for quite a while too. And the next day, holy crap, my I had a neuropathy flare from overusing my hands, and I was supposed to help him that next night, and I couldn't do it. Even touching my keyboard was like stabbing myself with the fingers. I could not do it the next day. I was like, okay. And that flare actually lasted for about 4 days. So I found out that I cannot mod twice in one day. And it was a very painful learning experience. Um, yeah, I absolutely love moderating for Ella. I do. And so yeah. Yeah, flares are bad. I mean, it my hands feel like they're burning or freezing or whatever all the time. But that flare up made it feel like I was soaking my hands in hot lava. It was horrible. I was like, oh my god, I would slap my mother for some gabapentin right now. You know what I mean? I'm like, but we powered through it. I didn't sleep for a few days, but we powered through it. Um, but moderating for Ella is, I mean, the people that come in her chat are amazing, and Ella's amazing, and her guests are amazing, and it's so much fun, you know. So I would not give that up for the world. Yeah, my friend had that problem too. My son just messaged me. Aw, my son messaged me with Merry Christmas. Unusual. Usually I have to message him first on holidays, so it's very sweet that he did that first for me. Merry Christmas, baby. Yeah, Ella is a riot. I love Ella. I mean, I joke around that I have to light candles. Oh yeah, he lives close. Um, but he doesn't really come over or really talk to me that much. So when I hear from him, it's unusual. And this is twice in one day because he messaged me earlier to let me know that he wasn't going to be able to go over to my mom's. So he had to walk home Thursday night in 10-degree temperatures, soaking wet. He had to walk home from work, and he cracked the bottom of his heel because his feet were wet, and he was bleeding everywhere. So he needs that to heal up so he can go to work. Heal up. He cracked his heel, and he's not feeling well because of having to walk home soaking wet in the freezing cold. She is on almost every day somewhere. Yeah, she does a lot, and I don't know how she has the energy to do it all. I really don't, but she is. She's on a lot. I mean, she's on Cajun Root Reseller on Wednesdays. She's on with Missy on Sundays, and then I think she does a Monday and a Tuesday. So yeah, he's having a very uncomfortable Christmas, but he doesn't need to use his feet when he games, and that's mostly what he does. So he should be okay, just so long as he doesn't get sick. Because he only works part time, he really can't afford to miss work. But the deal when he moved out of here was that his roommates would give him rides to and from work, and then of course their car acts up, and or they don't want to go out in the cold or whatever reasons, he ends up walking home. I don't know how far from home he works, but any distance in that cold last night would have been way too much. It was only 10 degrees out. I imagine he was literally frozen by the time he got home. And he does not have a winter jacket. He just wears a sweatshirt if he wears a jacket at all. So yeah, and he said he wasn't feeling good today, so hopefully he'll be okay. My kid is so hot-blooded. He'll go out in 20-degree weather with a muscle shirt and shorts on, and he's fine. He's absolutely fine. He's like, I love this weather. I'm like, you're so weird. But his blood runs real hot, so hey, more power to him. He does not like the summer because it's too hot. Spring and summer are too hot for him. He likes fall and winter. He was born in Massachusetts, so maybe that's it, you know? He'll get a decent holiday meal though, because his roommate Dorothea, she's a chef, and they always make sure that they get food for the holidays. So yeah, yeah. My friend Lisa lives in Minnesota. She lives in Rochester. She's from Massachusetts, so for her the weather's fine. Yeah, she had no problem. Here in the South, it's so funny because if one snowflake falls, the entire state shuts down. You know, like either that or they get really stupid if we get snow or ice. Some of them get really stupid and think if they put chains on their big ass mutter trucks that they'll be fine. No, no, you won't. Or that they have big mutter trucks, so they'll be fine on snow and ice. Well, snow and ice is not mud, you know. So we see a lot of those big trucks and cars and stuff in ditches. when, when we used to drive around after, we'd see all these cars that people thought that they could make it. I mean, I've driven through blizzards without a problem, but I grew up learning how to drive in snow. I mean, when my birthday is in January, and so when I had my driver's permit, there was snow because we were able to get a driver's permits at 15, and there was snow, and my dad literally took me into a parking lot that had like 4 inches of snow on the ground, and said, "Okay, now drive." And he had me do skids and peel outs and spinning the car in circles and shit. It was terrifying, to teach me how to handle the car in snow. So, yep, yeah. But they think if they have these tires with like big thick tracks on them that they'll be fine. No, you're not, because they'll slide too. Hello. Yeah. So yeah, that's how my dad taught me how to drive in the snow. And that training came in handy when I had a guy. I was driving home from work. I was 16 and a half or so, between 16 and 17. I was driving home from work, and there was, it had snowed, and most of the snow had melted, but it was still on the sides of the road. So the driving area on the street for each side of the road was a little narrower than normal. And this guy coming at me, driving in the middle of the road, like right down the line, and I'm like, dude, move. And I had to go around him, and I hit ice. My car started to spin, literally spin, and I had almost gotten control of it when I hit another patch of black ice. Hey, Carol, I am back. Merry Christmas. Um, and my car just flew right into a snowbank. It like went airborne and landed, bam, on the snowbank, and I was like, well, hell, So yeah, I was stuck. I couldn't get out. Some big, huge, creepy guy pulled his pickup truck over and got out of it with a shovel. He did not look like he was coming to help me. He had a real bad vibe about him. I was like, oh shit. So I had all my doors locked, but the man had a shovel. He could have broken a window without a problem. And he was about 10 feet away from my car, and a cruiser police car pulled up. And this is another reason I know he wasn't there to help. The guy immediately turned around and walked back to it, threw the shovel in the back of his truck, and got in his truck, and he left. Now, anybody that was helpful wouldn't have taken off like that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, whoo. And then the biggest cop I have ever seen got out of the car. I mean, this man had to have been like 6'6". He was huge. And he came over. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yep, I'm good." And then he started laughing because my dad had a note taped to the steering wheel that said, "Don't forget to buckle your seatbelt," because he kept forgetting to buckle his seatbelt. And I was driving my dad's car. So the cop that thought that was hysterical. He's like, "Did you have your seatbelt on?" I'm like, "I did." He goes, "Good thing that note's there." I'm like, "Right." So the cop stayed there until tow truck came, and he, I mean, back in the day, we didn't have cell phones, so he called the station and gave them my parents' number to call my dad and let him know that I had gotten in an accident. I was in a snowbank. So my dad took my mom's car and came and got me. Um, and the next day, him and my mom went and got his car. But the tow guy was so sweet because he comes over to me and he goes, "Well," he goes, "normally for something like this, I'd charge you $70 for the tow." And I almost started crying because of course I'm working part time, and minimum wage at that time was 3.50 an hour or 3.55. Yeah, that was a long time ago. So it would have taken me months, you know. So I'm like, oh, and he goes, but he goes, I'm going to give you a break and not charge you for the tow. And I was like, oh my god, thank you. Why? He goes, because these jackholes down the way there, they were being stupid and they spun out and they landed on a stone wall and broke their axle. He's like, I'm gonna make enough money off them for this trip to be worth it. So you get a break today. I'm like, thank you so much. Because the kids that were in the other car had been drinking. And apparently they were having fun sliding around in the ice. Neighbors had been watching them do this. So when they went off the road and hit the stone wall, it broke their axle. So they weren't going anywhere. And the tow truck driver doesn't like drinking and driving. I mean, I don't think anybody does. But yeah, so I got a break and they got screwed and haha, you know. And my dad wasn't even mad at me. I told him exactly what happened, because normally my dad would have screamed at me and I would have been grounded forever for getting in a car accident getting in an accident with this car. But I told him what happened. I was like, look, I almost had control until I hit more ice. And so he was like, well, you did good and the car's not damaged, so we're all right. I'm like, whew. Yeah. Yeah, my dad had a Nova, a four-door white Nova. Which, by the way, don't get a Ouija board and tell my dad, but that car hauled ass. It's funny because when my dad got his car, my grandmother liked his car. She went and got one. So they both had Novas. My grandmother's was like that, almost like Goldstone. You know what Goldstone looks like? It was like a reddish brown type, and it had sparkles in it. It's kind of cool. So when my grandmother was getting up there in age, she had told me that I was getting her car and a couple pairs of her earrings and her engagement ring. And I was like, I don't need to know what you're leaving me when you die. I'm like, that's morbid. What are you doing? She goes, well, everything, you're getting everything except the ring now. I'm like, what? So yeah, she gave me her car. It was like 5 years old or something, and it only had 30,000 miles on it. It was a 78 Chevy Nova. I won money racing people in that car. And then a boyfriend I had killed it. He got in an accident with a 79 Nova. But yeah, I mean, everybody would see like the two-door Novas and be like, ooh, that car's fast. And they'd see the four-door Novas and go, look, grandma's car. Yeah, well, grandma's car kicked their ass. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Good night, Tracy. Have an awesome Christmas. And look for my, hey, Tracy, what's up in your chat sometime tomorrow, because I'll pop in and say hey, talk to people. I was wondering why I wasn't getting any notifications or anything for your channel. I'm like, why am I not ever seeing anything from Tracy? I know she's doing stuff. So that would be why. It's because YouTube decided to unsubscribe me. Bastards. I will. So a few people have noticed that my avatar is different. It's not my pirate bear, my purple pirate bear. I got this picture a few years back, and when every time I've changed computers, I've done a Google search and found this picture again. because there was a zoo, and I think it was at the Cincinnati Zoo. I'm not sure what zoo it was at, but what they did is they did special Christmas stuff for all the animals that they were able to do it for. And what they did for the grizzly bears is they tied fruits and vegetables on the trees in their enclosure so that they would like Christmas ornaments that were edible, as you can see. Bears like, give me that bell pepper. And then they wrapped up boxes with treats in them, like Christmas presents. And I do have another picture that has the bear with his head stuck in a box, ripping apart the box to get to the treat. For the big cats, they wrapped up boxes that were open, like they left the top of the box open and wrapped the outside of the box so that the cats would jump in them, because even tigers will fall for the cat trap. So the cats had fun shredding those and having their treats and stuff like that. So they did a lot of really cool things for the animals there, and I thought the bear thing was the cutest thing. For Halloween, they gave the bears pumpkins, and I have a picture of a bear with its whole face stuck in a pumpkin. So I like it when they try and do something special for animals that are basically in jail, you know? Yeah, I do hate when YouTube does that. They've done that to a lot of people. But go to bed, Tracy. Get some sleep. Busy day tomorrow. You ever notice when you have to get some sleep because you have stuff planned? Sleep is not easy. It's like you just can't fall asleep. Happens to me when I'm going to moderate for Ella. I'm like, okay, I need to get sleep because I need to be alert when I'm moderating. And I swear to you, I don't fall asleep until like an hour before I'm supposed to wake up. I definitely nap after Ella's auctions. Yeah, her auctions this week were each 4 hours long. It was fun though. Fun. And I don't have much in my life to actually look forward to, so I really do look forward to helping out Ella and talking to people in the chat and joking around with them all and stuff like that. And yeah, I mess up every once in a while, but I try, you know? We're all human. We all make mistakes. Whatever was electronic that kept going off in my room is now dead, apparently. Either that or the cat stepped on it again and turned it off. A couple of days ago, all I heard was and then a pause, and then I'm like, what in the hell is that? We have a John had gotten one of those massager things that like has 4 legs on it. It's like a little ball with 4 little balls on it, and yeah, balls. And you push the top of it to turn it on, and it vibrates. And he used to rub my back out with it, and it's in a box, and the cat every once in a while will hit that just right, and the thing will start going off, and I can't reach the box, so I can't get to it, take the batteries out of it. So it started going off a couple of days ago, and I was like, well, it sounds like I have a cicada stuck in my room, but it'll just have to die on its own because there's nothing I can do about it. And I don't hear it anymore. So apparently the batteries died, or the cat stepped on it again and turned it off. And it's funny though, because normally cats would be all about a noise like that, and they'd be like stalking the box or hunting it down. And nope, they didn't give a damn. They were like, we don't care. So y'all getting your wrapping done? I got 6 people lurking in this. Figure you're doing your Christmas wrapping. I really wish I had stuff. I wish I was able to have gotten stuff that I could wrap, but I couldn't. when we had a full house and there were more people living here, so we were able to split the expenses. I was able to Annie wrapping now. See, I knew. Um, I was able to get gifts for everybody, and I had the best time wrapping presents. And then John walks in with a big bag of stuff and says, "Here, wrap mine now," because he was horrible at wrapping. But I learned how to wrap presents from my mom, who is a precision wrapper. This woman could have worked at one of those department stores that does professional wrapping. I mean, crisp corners, no stray pieces of paper, everything taped precisely. And so that's who I learned. She used to make her own bows. She doesn't do that now, and I could never manage to figure out how to make the bows. I did learn how to curl the ribbon, but I could not make the damn bows for the life of me. The big fancy ones. Mm-mm. But yeah. So I learned how to do my wrapping from her, and I loved it because it was like, "Ooh, I have to get this perfect. Have to get this perfect." And it's one of the things I'm OCD about is when I wrap. Um, and I miss not being able to do it because one, it also means that I was able to get things from people. And past few years, I just haven't been able to do that. But I remember the year I worked for the catalog company. Um, it was right before a couple of months before Christmas that I started there, and then they had an employee sale because the catalog there were 5 catalogs that people would send in an example of what they wanted to sell in the catalogs. I didn't even know how this worked, but I learned because if you had an item, like say I had a piece of jewelry, um, like say I made a pendant and I was willing to mass produce them. Oh, you were playing Uno Flip, cool. Um, and like I would send an example. I would send a pendant to the catalog company and say, I would like to sell this in your catalog. Are you interested in it? Well, all of those examples don't get sent back. Whether they sell it in their catalog or not, you don't get it back. So they had this storeroom that was full of stuff. And every year they would have an employee sale and sell it all. And the stuff went really cheap. I mean, I was buying, let's see, I got my son a sweatshirt with orcas on it because at the time his favorite movie was Free Willy, and it was an adult small. My son was like 2, so it was more like it came to the floor. It came almost down to his ankles. We had to roll the sleeves up a million times. It was so funny, but he loved that thing when he was a kid. Um, and I got that for $2. Where are you going to find a sweatshirt for $2? And I got my friend Rose. I got her a sterling silver. It's actually a wax stamp kit, and it was a fairy on a chain, and the bottom of the fairy had a little fairy um, carving on the bottom of it, so that when you press it into the wax, it left the fairy impression. And she hung that thing in her car. She put it over the mirror, and I mean, just I was able to get people jewelry. I mean, I was buying sterling silver rings for like anywhere between $1 and $5, and they were beautiful. And I actually found one on the floor of the cafeteria after they did cleanup and everything. And we went in there to eat lunch. I was like, oh, damn, there's a ring on the floor. And I picked it up, and it was sterling silver, and it had flowers on it. And it was actually very nicely done. It wasn't too girly because I'm not really into overly feminine rings. And I asked my supervisor, I was like, I found this on the floor. It's probably from the sale. And she goes, keep it. So I got a free ring. Uh, I was able to buy everybody gifts and send a box to my daughter that was living here in South Carolina with my parents. Um, I probably spent maybe $300 or $400, and I was able to get absolutely everybody gifts. I was able to get my mom, my dad, all of my friends, the kids. Each, I think I spent like $200 on each of the kids, and it was one of the best Christmases I ever had. With not from when I was like as an adult, because the happiness of seeing them open things, and my daughter in South Carolina calling me, and just being like, "Oh my God, I love everything I did." It made me so happy because I like making people happy. I like giving people things, and like people in our community are always gifting other people things, and they give me things, and I'm very rarely able to do that. But that was always how I was. It's like if I was out at a store and I saw something that a friend of mine might like, I'd grab it if if I had the money for it, and just randomly out of the blue. And Johnny and I used to do that for each other too. I have so many things from him, and his wife, after he got married, got so mad that he would do that. Um, they'd be out somewhere and he'd see a bear or like a dragon or any of the other multitude of things that I collect, and he'd grab it, and she'd be like, "Why are you always buying her things? I'm your wife, you know." He goes, "Yeah, I know." And he'd walk away. John was an asshole, but that's how I was. I just like to make people smile. I was a person that, if somebody needed a place to stay, they could stay at my place. If they needed food and I didn't have any money, I'd go shopping in my own kitchen for them. It's and watch other people in our community do that for people makes me very happy that there are people like that in the world. And I'm glad that I'm part of a community that has so many of them in it. you know, um, like I said, I feel very blessed to be a part of this community and very thankful that all of you are there. So, but it drives me crazy that I see stuff and I see things at auctions and stuff all the time, and I'm like, "Ooh, so and so would like that," or "Ooh, that would be really cool if I could give that to da 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 da," and I just don't have the funds to be able to do it. I was able to get two people presents um, this year out of YouTube, and I feel bad because I want to get everybody everything, but I very limited funds, and the things that I was able to get weren't that expensive, so uh, I got, I got Victoria a Minion keychain. It's got covered in sequins on one side, and it's puffy, and so she'll be driving around with minions on her keychain, and I got Rhonda a pendant, a geode pendant that has some druzy in the middle. So, you know, and I wish I could have gotten everybody something. I really do. But those things happen to come up. Robin was selling the pendant, and Rhonda was there, and she was like, "If nobody grabs that, I'm getting it." And I was like, "Well, guess what? I'm getting it for you." So, and the keychain, Nikki had the keychain, and as soon as I saw minions, I was like, "Uh huh, mine." Uh, and had her send it to Victoria. But and I wish I could do that for everybody. I really do. I'd say if I won the lottery, but I can't even get out to get a ticket. So you got to win it. You got to be able to play it to win it, and I can't play it. So that's not happening anytime soon. But and we'd also be having a meetup in like Bora Bora, and I'd pay for everybody to get there. You know what I'm saying? Not we'll rent out like a cruise ship explicitly for YouTubers. Like we'd have the whole ship for a cruise. That would be cool. I don't want to go on a cruise with like random strange people, but strange people that I know, that would be okay. Yeah, I'd lock myself on a boat with you yahoos. As long as it's wackadoodles that I know and I like, I'm good. But weird random people, I'm good with staying away from. And that's the only way you're getting me on an ocean is in a really big boat that has really good lifeboats. Because my fat crippled ass is not ending up in the ocean. Could you imagine me trying to get away from a shark? I'd be swimming in circles. Only got one leg. I'd be the first one to be food. No. Sharks and I have an understanding. I stay out of their house and I don't eat them, and they stay out of my house and they don't eat me. It is a very workable understanding that has been perfect so far. Ooh, I have to turn my candle. There we go. It's a jar candle, and for some reason it's burning on one side more than the other, so I had to turn it. because I hate it when candles don't burn evenly. Because the idea of scented candles, which with natural, essential oils and whatnot, is that they completely evaporate. But if they don't burn evenly, they don't do that. And I am such a candle snob. I really am. Candles have to behave like they're supposed to, otherwise I get very upset. At one point, I wanted to make my own candles, not to sell, although that could have been a possibility. But I wanted to make my own candles because I used to spend so much money on candles. Um, I figured if I was making them, it would be more cost effective. But I could never afford all the equipment to make them. And now it's just not going to happen because transferring hot wax while I'm in a wheelchair, I don't think that's happening. Nope, not taking that risk. That's all I need is third-degree burns all over me with wax stuck to me. So all the glass jars and candle holder things that I not candle holders, but like the jars from candles or whatever containers that I've saved over the past 20 years. Yeah, those are all getting tossed because they're just taking up space, and I'm never gonna end up using them. So yeah. Another one of my grandiose ideas that went nowhere. Like all the unpainted wooden stuff, craft things that I found. I'm like, But that happens. And my crafting brain tends to snowball. So I start with one thing, and I'm like, "Ooh, I could do this," and then I start getting stuff for that, and then I'm like, "Ooh, but this looks cool," and then I start with that. I mean, I started off with beading, and I also do macrame, like macrame jewelry. So I was buying Fimo beads, the Fimo clay beads, and then I realized, well, hell, I can make my own beads. So I bought Fimo clay and started making my own beads, and then was doing. I was like, well, I have clay, I could make something. So I started making little sculptures, and yeah, it snowballs. It starts off as one thing and ends up as something else. Sadly, I had to throw away about $500 worth of polymer clay because it got stuck in my storage unit for 5 years up in North Carolina, and it was not temperature controlled. So by the time I was able to get it out of there, I had very colorful little bricks. Yeah, they were useless. I couldn't use them for anything, so I had to throw them all away. I was so upset. And I still have all the equipment to work with female clay. I just can't afford to buy any of it, and I don't really have the space right now to do that. And with the hands not working the way they should, I don't even know if anything I tried to do because I used to do clay covered pens, like because you could do all different patterns and different things on pens. So I was making those, and people really liked them. I gifted one to my neighbor when we were living out in the woods, and she was a waitress. She worked at a seafood place, and she said everybody was constantly trying to steal her pen. She goes, if you make any more, I can guarantee you can sell them for like $5, $5 or $7. People will pay for it. But at the time, I wasn't able to get any more clay. So, and then she moved away. But yeah, I made all of my kids stuff. I made my oldest daughter. She was in high school at the time, so I made her um a little frame that she could put a mirror in. That I put a mirror in and put magnets on the back of it so she could hang it in her locker. And I got like a little, the little things you can stick on things that will hold a pen. I got her like one of those and made her a pen that matched the mirror so she could hang that in her locker. And I made my son. I actually took a frosting container. You know how you buy the little cans of frosting? I took the container and I covered it in clay with patterns and stuff. I used some glow in the dark clay for that and made him a pen holder, a pen and pencil holder. And then I made him a pen that had the same matching pattern on it that glowed in the dark. He still has that. And I made him that when he was like 12. And he's 28 now, 28, 29, something like that. Um, So yeah, he still has it. He's like, I still have that pen you made me, and they're refillable because one of the white big pens that have like the colored cap on it. All you got to do is pull the pen part out and take another one, take it apart, and put the pen part in your clay pen. So I mean, it can last forever, you know. So I don't know. Maybe someday I'll get some more clay and make some pens and see if people want to buy them. I mean, resellers constantly need a pen, right? Because you're always writing lists and writing who bought what. So, but yeah, I learned how to do all those little patterns and stuff to do like the brown beads that have pictures in them. I learned how to do that. That was pretty cool. Polymer clay is a rabbit hole that you go down and you can't get out of because you learn all these really cool things you can make. My oldest daughter she always tried to do everything I did, even though she said she didn't like me at all. I mean, didn't ever want to be like me, but she tried to do everything I did. She did not have the patience to work with polymer clay. She went out and, I mean, she had never used it before. She went out and bought all of the equipment all at once. I mean, she probably spent like $300. Plus, then she bought a bunch of clay and pulled everything out, sat in her house, and tried to make a pen. And when the first one didn't come out right, she's like, "Oh, this is impossible," and I don't know how she does this, and and she gave up on it. And John was there at the time. He was over at her place, and he picked up all the little scraps, all the little colored scraps that she had used, and he made the most beautiful polymer clay rose. And she was so mad that he was able to make something so pretty right away that she never touched the polymer clay stuff again. And she was also mad that he gave me the rose, which ended up getting knocked on the floor and broken by one of the cats that we had. But he did a really good job on it, and I was like, wow, impressive. You know, whereas she was all pissy that he did so well. I was impressed. He did really well on that. But yeah, she also tried doing macrame, and she didn't have the patience to sit there and do macrame. And it's funny because a lot of the things that she's done in her life have mimicked things that I've done. And I was like, well, I guess it's a good thing I don't test parachutes, isn't it? Because in school she played clarinet, I played clarinet. She also won art contests for her drawings, and I did too when I was a kid. And yeah, so a lot of the things that she's done craft wise, artistic wise, are the same things that I did. Yet she insists she's nothing like me. Personality wise, she's not, but the things that she's tried to do, yeah, I think she just wanted to try and do it and be better than me. But she was better with the clarinet. She our town here has two high schools, and the high school that's in the richer part of town, that's the one she went to, is actually where Chadwick Boseman went, the original Black Panther, the guy that died. I don't think she went to school with him, but it was the same high school. Their marching band won awards, and Desiree, she was in the marching band. But yeah, their football team sucked ass. I mean, they hardly ever won a game, but tons of people went to the games for the band, not for the team, but for the band. So they went on all different kinds of contests, like nationwide contests and stuff, and they won a lot of awards. Whereas I quit clarinet when I was in the 7th grade because my band teacher was a jerk, and he almost hit me in the head with a music stand, and he didn't apologize for it, and I was like, no, I'm done. Also, I was able to play a song a couple of times, and I had it down pat, so I didn't have to practice every day. And I was first string clarinet, and I answered honestly when he said, have you been practicing every day? And I was like, no. He goes, well, congratulations, you're now 2nd string. I'm like, but I can play the song perfect. And, you know, he goes, it doesn't matter. If you're not practicing, you're not 1st string. And he kicked me out of 1st string. And I was like, mm-hmm. So, yeah, he was a jerk. So I quit. I was just not having that. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be disrespected like that. Even at that age, I wouldn't put up with being disrespected like that, especially when he almost injured me because he threw a little temper tantrum and he hit his music stand, and his sheets of music fell off the music stand. So I was leaning down to pick one up off the floor for him, And then he hit the music stand, and the whole metal music stand came at my head. And I'm like, if I had not had such good reflexes, I probably would have ended up in the hospital getting stitches because those things are sharp. If you if you get hit on the side, of one, they're metal and they're sharp. So, and he didn't even say sorry, nothing. I was like, packed my clarinet away. He's looking at me like, where do you think you're going? I was like, out of here. And I packed my clarinet up and I walked out. I've never played the bullshit game. Even as young as that. So she followed through with her clarinet more than I did. So she wins on that one. Kudos to you, girl. She did good. And she didn't have to practice all the time either, but she wasn't dumb enough to tell her music instructor that she hadn't practiced. Of course, my oldest daughter is very good at lying to people about absolutely everything. So I guess that came naturally, but that's the opposite of me. I hate lying. And I hate being lied to. Can't stand it. Nope. And the other thing that burns my ass besides the 3-foot flame is people accusing me of lying because you're questioning my integrity and that will set me off big time. I'm a very upfront person. I have no reason to lie about shit. I don't see why anybody has reason to lie about shit. And I'm not talking about like, no, I didn't get you a present and you actually did. I mean, major things. My dog is staring at me like, why are you talking? It's late. Go to sleep. She's literally laying on my pillow staring at me. I'm like, well, I can't go to sleep anyway. You're laying on my pillow. She knows her mom is crazy. She used to it by now. The cats are sleeping. Dog's staring at me, but comfortable. It's cold, but luckily the wind has died down because when my mom was out of power for so long, the reason that she was out for so long the other day was because apparently they were having trouble doing the repairs because of the wind. I mean, it literally sounded like hurricane winds out there. It was bad. I had to be in my doorway. I had to have my front door open waiting for a delivery. And it's a good thing I didn't have like lightweight stuff on my porch because it would have been gone. Hopefully the box that's out there right now doesn't get stolen. I got a delivery of Walmart. Somebody sent me something from Walmart and they left it at the end of my porch, which is, a good 12, 14 feet away from my door. And I can't reach it. So my neighbor wasn't home. I don't know if he's away for holidays or what, but he was not home. Didn't have anybody to call to come bring me my package. People across the street moved out, so there's nobody over there. But hopefully it's still there tomorrow. If my mom can get over, she'll bring it in. But porch pirates see a Walmart box sitting on a porch and they'll probably grab it. Hopefully they don't. I don't know what's in it. But it's a pretty big box. I'm very curious. I need a go gadget thing that I can just extend to the end of my porch and grab stuff. Because lazy delivery people don't want to bring things to your door. That sucks. My postal people are like that too. It's like they take one step and toss it up on the porch. I guess, having the ramp out front, you would think that they would be a little more considerate, but they probably figure that anybody that's got a ramp probably has somebody that helps them out. Yeah. No, I don't. And in order to get them to deliver things to my door, because I did ask one of the postal workers about this, I have to get a note from my doctor stating hardship, and I have to apply with the postmaster for a hardship situation where things would get delivered to my door. I'm like, I would have to get to my doctor to do that because my doctor's a jerk, and there's no way I could do that. So I guess I just have to if my neighbor's not around, I get to collect mail out of my mailbox once a week, and packages sit on my porch until my mom comes over or my neighbor. So kind of sucks. So far, I've gotten lucky. Nothing's gotten stolen. Although I still have not gotten my mom's Christmas card, which is really weird because she's called other people that she sent Christmas cards to find out if they got their cards, and they all got them, and they live far away. I live in the same town with my mom, and I haven't gotten the card. So I don't know. I have no idea. But the good news is she did not put my Christmas money in it. Um, I had told her she didn't have to give me Christmas money. She's been, helping me with groceries, and she's like, "Well, I'm giving it to you anyway." I'm like, okay, not gonna argue, but she didn't put it in the card. She just wanted me to have a card in the mail, so that was nice. Yeah. So to anybody new that's popped in, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. Is there a lot of celebrations around this time of year? My personal for my faith, um, my personal holiday started on the 21st, and it goes until January 1st. So that works for me. Have a cool Yule, people. But I'm incumbent. That's why I say Happy Holidays, because it covers all of them, and you're not leaving anybody out. And I have actually had people yell at me for not saying Merry Christmas, and I'm like, get over yourself. I'm wishing you a happy thing. Just say thank you. You too. That would be fine. Or you can say, oh, Merry Christmas to you too. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get offended. You know what I mean? I don't know why people make such a big deal out of it. It's wishing someone happy holidays is not a bad thing. I don't get it. But some people need an agenda. They always have to have something that they're fighting against, even if there's nothing to fight against. It reminds me of the spoof that Summoner did on playing Dungeons and Dragons. And one of the dungeon master says, "You walk into a dark room. What do you do?" And the other player goes, "I cast magic missiles." And the dungeon master's like, "You're in the dark. What are you casting magic missiles at?" And the guy goes, "The darkness." Because there's nothing there to use a weapon against, but he's using one anyway. It was so funny. John and I got a kick out of that spoof. We watched it so many times. You can actually find it on YouTube. Um, Summoner Summoner spoof of D&D or something like that. It's so funny because John and I were playing D&D at the time. We were on the computer. We were playing Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale and all that, and we came across the Summoner spoof because Summoner is a different game. And we came across that and we died laughing. We were like, oh my God, that's so funny. Because John, back in the day, hey, Kara, Merry Christmas. Back in the day, John used to be a dungeon master with a group that played D&D. And yeah, because John's a geek. Um, and he said people actually did stupid crap like that. And so this was just hysterical for him that they spoofed it so accurately. Um, yeah, John and I used to take turns. He'd play for 30 minutes and I would help him with cheat codes and help him with the map of where to go. And I'd spot the loot that he was missing because for some reason he always missed stuff. And then he would run the paperwork part of it and I would play on the computer. And we used to play back and forth like that. It was pretty cool. It's okay, Kara, for being 1:40 in the morning. Doing all right. Why are you apologizing? What'd you do? I do have to ask you, do you prefer Kara or Kara? Because I know some people have issues with the way I say their name. Oh, that you didn't know what time it was? Not a big deal. The second one, Kara? Okay. I will remember that because I actually think I say it both ways sometimes. It's just how it comes out of my mouth, but I'll try and remember that. Because I know Tamara gets upset if I type her name wrong or I say Tamara. She gets upset. So I don't want to upset people unintentionally. Now if I do it intentionally, then you're out of luck, but I'm not doing it intentionally, so. What are you doing, little dog? How you doing? Kisses to you too. She just licked my nose. All right. She's looking at me like she wants to go get a drink of water. For some reason, my dog asked permission. Okay. Last year, my dog actually started asking permission if she could get down and get water. I don't know why. One day I'm sitting here and she was sitting next to me and she's staring at me and I'm like, what? And she looked at me and looked at the water bowl and looked at me and I'm like, you want to get a drink? Go get a drink. And she like looked at me again. I'm like, go ahead. And she jumped down and went and got a drink. And I'm like, why did my dog just ask me permission to get a drink? And she's kind of doing that now. I think she wants to go clean up the cat food that's on the floor. Go ahead, go. Yep. My cat Mardi Gras tends to pull food out of the bowl in order to eat it. I don't know why. And the dog likes it when she does that because then she gets to clean up the leftovers. Yeah. So the dog just asked me permission if she could have treats. Okay. One or two little pieces of cat food won't bother her. If she gets into the whole bowl, she'll be farting all night. Yep. And she's getting a drink. So, yep, she was asking permission. Weird dog. Yeah, she's too smart sometimes, but it's nice that I don't have to be like, dumb dog, you know. I think she's one of the smartest dogs I've ever owned. She adapts very quickly. How to answer that question without getting everybody depressed? How's my holiday? It is neutral. All right, you're gonna float away. Leave some for the cats. Simmy. She can't hear me over her slurping. Come on. That's enough. I have to be careful how much she drinks because she has a tendency to bloat and fill herself up with water and then she throws it up and I can't be cleaning that mess up. So what kind? Is that what you're saying? What kind? What? Simmy, come on, bed. Good girl. You asking what kind of holiday or what kind of dog? My dog is a pit bull boxer mix. Yeah, losing family. Our holidays were never the same after my grandmother passed. Because we always had big family gatherings at her house, and when she was gone, it was like she was the glue. Because all of a sudden nobody was showing up, you know. So yeah, she hasn't really been the same since. But I can't really go anywhere, so and my kids don't really want anything to do with me. My son did wish me Merry Christmas, which was nice. My son and I still talk. My girls don't talk to me at all. They don't even acknowledge me as their mom. But my mom will said if she's not too tired, she will try and get over and bring me food and apparently presents. She said she has presents for me, so she'll try and get over sometime tomorrow afternoon. That's my Simmy right there. My Simmy girl. She is. She's a beautiful dog. She really is. Mm. It's so hard when you're used to having people around and then they're just gone, and it leaves a big hole in holidays and celebrations and things like that. Um, and it's hard for people, and I get that. I mean, I lost John. This will be the second Christmas without him, and he was my best friend, my ride hard or die, and holidays and birthdays and things are very difficult for me. So yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's my Simmy being all snuggly on my blanket. Um, well, my my younger daughter, I didn't let her do what she wanted to do, and when she was 13, she decided to call social services and get taken out of my house to go stay at her friend's house, where she was allowed to do everything she wanted. Oh, thank you. Um, and during the course of her lying about everything going on at my house, she decided that I was a horrible mom, and so she refers to me as her incubator. My oldest, my dad filed for custody when I left her with them because I was living in my car, and I didn't want my 3-year-old living in my car. So I asked if she could stay with them because they had their own home and property and all that. And the very next business day, I that was on a Friday or a Saturday, and that next Monday he went down and filed for grounds of abandonment. And then my dad lied to her for years about what was, why she was with them and not me. So she built up a lot of resentments. And my oldest is she's kind of sociopathic with the way she thinks about people. Not the murdering kind of sociopath, but a lot of sociopaths don't. They're not able to feel actual emotion unless it's an extreme emotion. And she more sees people as game pieces, like how she can rearrange them in her life to benefit her. And if someone no longer has a benefit, she just drops them out of her life. She's done that with some friends. Um, and because I don't put up with her bullshit, I call her on her shit. Everybody else will buy into everything she says, and I'll be like, you're full of shit. She doesn't like that I call her on it. So she considers me toxic. And for a long time, I wasn't able to see my grandkids. I went for 7 years without being able to see my grandkids because I wouldn't answer a question that she asked me, which was none of her business. So, yeah. Right now, she's not talking to me, but I am allowed contact with my grandkids. But they're teenagers, and she told me, well, if you upset them, then you're not having contact with them. So, being teenagers, I'm afraid to even say hello because you never know what kind of day they're having, and they'll flip out on just the littlest thing. So, I send my greetings through my mom because they all live at my mom's house. So, like, I'll tell the kids I said Merry Christmas and I love them, and she will. And the kids don't actually hold any resentments against me. So, that's good because they actually know what their mom is like. Neither one of them likes their mother very much. I'm like, wow, this is a pattern repeating itself, isn't it? So yeah, and my son and I used to get along absolutely fantastic until I had the leg amputation and he moved back in to help, and then the person who was living here, John's widow, moved out. She bailed on us, and he had to pitch in more money, and he built up a lot of resentments about all kinds of shit, and he actually caused a big breach between us. So we're getting along better now that he's not living here, but he still doesn't talk to me that much. We message every once in a while on Facebook, but that's about it. Like he came over with my mom on Thanksgiving when she brought me Thanksgiving dinner. But apparently his roommates were supposed to come get him like almost immediately. And they were an hour late. And all he kept doing was checking messages, texting them, and pacing because he didn't want to be here, you know? I mean, like he came in the house and walked right past me and headed for my fridge. And I was like, "Hey, where's my hug?" And he looked at my mother first. And I think the only reason I actually got a hug from him is because my mom was standing there, which I knew would happen. I manipulated that because I wanted a damn hug. So I'm 53. My oldest is going to be 37 in March. My son, hold on, I can't remember if he just turned 28 or 29. I think he just turned 28. Um, and my middle child is a year older than my son. Her birthday's in April. Let's see. Yeah, my son's 28. So my daughter Kayla is 29, and then my oldest is going to be 37. So yeah, they have issues. My my daughter Kayla actually was at my mom's today. Um, it's the first time she's actually spent a holiday with any family in God since she was 13. Because she pretty much walked away from the entire family except my mom. She still had contact with my mom, but she pretty much dissed everybody else. Her sister, her brother, her niece and nephew. She just walked away from it. And but she kept in contact with my mom. I think mostly because my mom sends her money for holidays and birthdays, so she kept that contact. But she did go over there for um, Christmas Eve day, so that was nice. All of my kids were supposed to be there, but my son had to walk home in 10 degrees the other night, and he was soaking wet from work because he had been doing dishes, and he cracked the bottom of his heel, and he wasn't feeling good today, so he didn't go anywhere. That's the first Christmas he'll have missed at my mom's since he was a kid. Which is sad, and I hope he heals up quickly, and I hope he doesn't get sick because that boy does not need to be sick. I mean, he'll get a decent holiday meal. His roommate is a chef, and she'll cook something good. But it'll be the first Christmas he's missed in ever. So yeah, on the kid front, no, I mean, I wish me and my son could reestablish the relationship we had because we got along so good, you know. And it hurts me that he doesn't ever come see me. He doesn't help me out with anything, and he had made promises about helping with things, and he's not doing that. So I mean, it hurts that he's not here for me if I need him. I can't depend on him to help me out. Everybody's like, "Oh, get your son to do it," and I laugh every time someone tells me to have my son do it for me because he should be. You know, I mean, sadly enough, I do need help with things, and as being family, he should be there for me because I would be there for him, but he's just not. He's living his own life, gaming and going to work. It's, so yeah, my son was born in '94, July '94. He'll be 29 this July, and my oldest was March 21st, and Kayla, my middle child, was April 6th. So, and I mean, I miss my kids. It makes me both happy and sad when I hear about other people spending time with their kids, like Victoria, when her daughter showed up as a surprise from Texas. And Victoria like ran screaming out of the room during her morning show. I was worried for a minute. I was like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" But then she's like, "Jordan is here. Jordan is here." And I was just watching her hug Jordan made me so happy that she has that relationship with her daughter. You know what I mean? But it made me sad because I don't have that relationship with my daughter. It made me miss them more. But I'm just it did make me really happy for her. I'm really happy for people that have good relationships with their kids, because that's how it should be, you know. So kind of a bittersweet thing I got going on here. I don't know, but yeah, I'm basically alone for the holidays. Like I said, my mom's gonna try and stop over, but I told her, because she has people coming to our house for Christmas, so she'll be, cooking a big meal, because she always goes all out for holiday meal, and she'll have people there, and my mom won't let anybody help her, and she is 90, so I don't want her driving if she's too tired. But she's very stubborn, and she will probably come over anyway. Your oldest doesn't listen to your sister-in-law. But she'll stop by. She said, I'll bring over food and your presents. Yeah, she's 90 and still thinks she's 30. Uh, so I'll be doing lives today, off and on. If I'm doing one when she calls and says I'm on my way, then I'll leave the chat open and the live on, and I'll be gone for a little bit, visiting with my mom for the few minutes that she's here, um, because she's the only one in my family that I'll see for Christmas. And it's so different from when I was a kid and when I had, when my kids were younger, because we'd have Christmas morning at my house and then we'd go to my mom's, for a Christmas meal and opening presents there. And now there's just nobody. So it's like a big blank void, which is why I'm doing lives for other people that are by themselves on Christmas, or that want to escape from the chaos of their family for a little bit, because I'm sure we've all been there. Um, so yeah, it's, I mean, I'm alone all the time, but on holidays that when I was a kid or when I was younger, I spent with people. Now all of a sudden there's no people. So, oh, that's sad. See, I had a kind of rocky relationship with my mom when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, I've gotten more tolerant of her eccentricities, like never listening to anything I say or thinking I'm an idiot. Um, so I'm kind of, me and my mom get along really good now, and I'm grateful for that. My dad and I never had a good relationship. I turned 9 years old and got stronger than he was, and he stopped wanting to spend time with me because I don't think my dad ever actually wanted kids. Oh, yeah, that makes it difficult. Being an alcoholic, yeah, that makes it very difficult to have a relationship with somebody. I know, John. I was friends with John. Well, John and I started off in a relationship, and then in order for him to live, I told him it would be better off if we just stayed friends and weren't in a relationship, because otherwise I was going to have to murder him, and I didn't want to go to jail either. So we became best friends, and he was an alcoholic. He quit drinking 2 years before he died, and it was the best 2 years that. And even though he was married to somebody else, it was the best 2 years that I spent with him, because I didn't have to worry about if he was going to explode, if he was going to get in a fight with his wife because he was drinking, if he was going to fall over. I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff that comes along with alcoholics. Yeah, yeah, and it is what it is. Um, I don't have a way to get out of my house to get anywhere. So, and my mom's house isn't handicapped accessible. So even if I could get over there, I'd be stuck in the garage. And that's worse than being at the kids' table. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to eat my dinner out in the garage. She doesn't have a ramp, so I wouldn't be able to get in the house. But there's no way she can lift the wheelchair into her car anyway. The thing weighs like 35 pounds. So I'm in South Carolina, and I have issues with public transportation. I don't care how well you've been vetted. They can only check people for things that they've gotten caught for doing. So I don't care if my, you know, Uber driver or medical driver has been cleared by the state or whatever. I've gone through 4 rapes, and I don't trust strangers at all in that situation. So I have mental issues. Yeah. Well, I had a partial leg amputation. I'm missing the lower half of my left leg, about 9 inches, 8 or 9 inches below the knee. So, and with my arthritis, it's very difficult for me to use my prosthetic. So I'm in the wheelchair all the time. If I have to get off my bed, I'm in the wheelchair. Yeah. So you understand the trust issue. Um, and I've had people say, "Well, you're just gonna have to, buck up and do it." I'm like, "Yeah, it doesn't work that way." I have, because in order for me to have somebody come pick me up, they would have to help me get the wheelchair, help me get out of my house, down the ramp and to the vehicle, and then they have to help me get back in the house because I could get out of the house in case of emergency. I can actually physically get out. The landlord put a low profile threshold thing on the inside of the doorway, but there's not a threshold thing on the outside, and it's like an inch and a half lift. And the wheelchair, I have to come in the house backwards, and it has to be a pretty serious push. And the doorway is not that wide, so I bang my elbows. It's just John used to have to pull the wheelchair backwards through the door to get me back inside, and I don't have anybody to do that for me. And then I'd have a stranger in my house, and that's not happening. Um, so yeah, I ever since John's widow bailed on helping me to appointments and stuff because she doesn't have any time for that. I haven't actually left my house in over 2 years. Yeah, yeah. So if it was somebody I knew or I had somebody to go with me, like I've taken cabs before, but my son's been with me. Things like that before the amputation. Um, yeah, 2 years. I haven't physically even been through my front door in 2 years. Um, but I don't have anybody to help me with anything now, so it is what it is. I deal with it. Um, and having the amputation now and being in a wheelchair, I feel even more vulnerable because I had a problem with it before the amputation, but now, I mean, the possibility, me trying to fight off somebody when I'm in a wheelchair, come on, um, it just adds to the whole scenario. So that's why I don't have my gabapentin is because my doctor wouldn't just redo my prescription for it. He was like, "Well, you need to come in and see me," and I'm like, "Why? It's nerve pain. What are you going to look at?" You know what I mean? I'm like, "There's no testing for it. There's that my hands don't look different." I'm like, "That's stupid." But yeah, that's why I don't have my gabapentin. I live in my compression gloves, and otherwise I would get absolutely no sleep whatsoever. And I wouldn't be able to touch my animals because my neuropathy. I mean, my animals are all very smooth coated, and patting them, even it feels like I'm running my hand over a wire bristle brush. It hurts. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I'm very grateful that I have as much mobility as I do, because I'm a large person, and if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to move at all, and I'd be screwed. Yeah, I have it in my feet too. Well, my foot. I had it in my feet. Now I only have it in one foot. But my foot doesn't bother me as bad as my hands do because the hands, I mean, you're always using your hands. And if I use my hands too much without my gloves on, like when I moderate for Ella, um, as soon as I'm done moderating, I have to put my compression gloves on because my hands start flaring up. But not too bad, but they're constant. It's constant pain. Yeah, I have a slip-on shoe that I use, the ones from Walmart. Like they have black ones and they have white ones. I have a slip-on shoe with just a little heel on the end so my shoe doesn't fall off all the time. And that's what I use when I leave my room because I am super careful about getting an injury on the bottom of my foot now. Because the whole leg thing started off with the cat. When we got these kittens, they were 3 and 4 months old, and I always slept with like my foot hanging off the edge of the bed. And apparently, one of them ran over my foot and caught the just the underside of the bottom middle of my foot, and I didn't notice it because my feet are numb most of the time. I mean, unless the pain flares up, but other than that, they were numb. I couldn't feel what I stepped on. I didn't feel it, and because I was walking around and it got dirty, I ended up getting a staph infection, and I had to have surgery on the bottom of my foot, and that was so gross. It looked like a shark, like a little shark took a bite out of the bottom of my foot. I'm like, ew. I didn't even want to look at it. I'm like, blah. Um, and then it got reinfected, and I had to have another surgery, and that went all the way down to the bone in my heel. And the doctor had said that if new skin doesn't start growing over that they'd have to do an amputation because you can't have exposed bone. That's bad. So I was like, all right, and it was almost healed. It did get skin, the tissue did start growing over it. It was healing up great. And about 2 months before it was fully healed, I ended up rolling my ankle. And I thought I just twisted it. Yeah, well, 2 months later, and there was no way to do anything about it with my foot having an open wound. So I didn't bother with it. My ankle swelled up. I couldn't put any pressure on it, and da da da. And I'm an idiot and didn't get it checked. And when the doctor, my surgeon, claimed, okay, your foot's healed up, you're great. I said, good. Can I go get x-rays now? Can you order me some x-rays? Because that ankle is messed up. And he's like, yeah, it does look really swollen. And I told him what happened. He goes, okay, we're gonna get x-rays. And it turned out that I dislocated and shattered my ankle, and it had been like that for 2 months. And the surgeon's nurse called me and said, well, he wants you to get a CT scan. And because he noticed an abnormality in your x-ray. And I'm like, okay. So I went down and they did a CT scan, and it turned out that the bone in my leg, my shin, had gotten infected because of my ankle being shattered like that. It had caused an infection in the bone. And I could have gone into the hospital and gotten bombarded with really strong antibiotics, which is what I suggested. And the surgeon told me I would only have a 5% chance of getting rid of the infection, and that reconstructive surgery on my ankle would cause me problems for the rest of my life between pain and mobility and all that. And that the only thing he could recommend was amputation. So after I lost my mind and ugly cried in the surgeon's office, we scheduled it for January 10th, which was after Christmas and before my birthday, because I didn't want either of those to get ruined. So yeah. So 2 years ago, I had to have part of my leg removed. After healing that foot, it took me over a year to get my foot healed up. I was so mad. I was like, you're telling me that I healed that foot. I did all of that effort, making it clean and dealing with, home care nurses coming over here and all of that. I did all of that for almost a year just to lose the foot anyway. I was so mad. Yeah. So that's what happened. So I make sure that my other foot is, not getting any injuries whatsoever. I make sure the blanket is over it so the cats can't claw it. I make sure that I always have a shoe on if I leave my room. Hell, I put a shoe on if I'm in my room, because I definitely cannot deal with a double amputation. There would be no way for me to move around. I am too big to just lift my entire body around with just my arms. I have a bad back. I have degenerative disc disease in my back. So, yeah, I'm having a hard time doing transfers now. There's no way I could transfer if I didn't even have one foot to stand on. So, yeah, that's what I deal with. I managed to figure out how to do just about everything from the wheelchair. There were two things that I can't do, and that's my laundry, because of the way my washer and dryer are situated. And I can't go get my mail because I can't get out of the house and in the house and all that. And my driveway is like sand, like a sandy dirt. And when they put the ramp in, they didn't put that little piece of slanted wood at the bottom of it, so it just kind of abruptly ends in the sand. So if I go down the second part of my ramp forward, the little wheels on the wheelchair will hit that dirt and dig in, and I will fly out of my wheelchair. So basically, I have to go down like 20 feet of ramp backwards if I don't have anybody helping me. Yeah, it's so much fun. And there's no way for me to reach my mailbox because there's a drainage ditch goes right in front of my driveway. I would have to go, down into that and back out and into the street to the mailbox. Turn the wheelchair around, try and reach the mailbox across the ditch, and then reverse the whole process. Yeah, it's not happening. So yeah, the thing on my foot was so gross. It was seriously gross. And then the amputation was in January, and John was helping me take care of the wound because I can deal with wounds on animals all day long and clean them and make sure they don't get infected and get infection out of them and all that. I can do all that gross stuff with animals all day long. When it comes to a person, are you telling me to stop smoking? Because that's not going to happen. Um, but I couldn't even look at my leg. I was just like, whoa. So John was helping me keep that clean. He was doing all the wound care for me. And yeah, then in February, that right out, the next month, in February 20th, he passed away in his sleep. So, then I had to do it myself. I was not happy about that, but um, things just spiraled downhill from there. Nope, not happening. I did switch to a vape, but after I got COVID, my vape affects my lungs badly. So, um, I do use a vape when I'm out of cigarettes, but ironically, the cigarettes don't bother me as much as the vape does. Because I don't want to. Yeah, John died and everybody bailed. I mean, his widow, within a week of him dying, was dating again, and then like a month later, that guy ghosted her. So she actually went on and did a dating profile on Plenty of Fish to find a new man in the middle of a pandemic. And then she moved in with him like a month later. And my son was here for about a year, building up resentments for. He's like, I'm not a caretaker. I'm like, that's good because you're not really taking care of anything. You make one meal a day for me and you give my animals food and water. That was it. That's all he was doing for me. Um, but he built up all kinds of resentments. So then he moved out, and yeah, that was all I had. So my neighbors do help me out. My neighbor next door mows the lawn for me, and he put the dog kennel up outside. So well, that's good. I'm happy for people that want to quit, but you know, unfortunately, a lot of former smokers become fanatical about getting everybody to quit, and that's not cool. Um, I mean, I understand it comes from a place of caring, but it does get annoying when people are like, "You should quit smoking." Yeah, well, you shouldn't tell me what to do. I have no vices. Okay, I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't even do legal drugs, let alone illegal ones. Smoking is all I got left. Leave it alone. And the neighbor across the street, he when he's home and feeling okay, because now he's on um, dialysis. He's not doing well health wise, but when he's able to, he brings my mail to me. I know you're not saying it like that. I've had people do that though, and I'm just like, no. Um, but he'll bring me my mail and stuff like that, or run to the store for me if I need it. But he gives me lectures. I if I have him go to the store to get me cigarettes, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to call the funeral home and have him park out in front of the house, wait for you." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "You paying for the funeral too? Because I'm broke and I can't afford it." But considering that he has drank so much that he now is on dialysis, and because he killed his kidneys, and he smokes pot like a mother, he really didn't have any place to lecture me on shit. You know what I mean? But I know he does it because he cares. But you know what's funny is that he doesn't do it to anybody else. His roommate smokes like 4 packs of cigarettes a day. A house. I'm in a house. It's a small house, but it's a house. I cannot stand living in apartments. I don't like people that close to me. His roommate, because his name is Donnie, and he has a roommate named Ronnie. Isn't that cute? He smokes like 4 or 5 packs of cigarettes a day. Okay, he doesn't lecture him. The people that used to live across the street, she'd go out there and be smoking. He never said a word to her. I even asked her. I was like, "Does he lecture you about smoking?" She goes, "Uh-uh." I'm like, "Why does he lecture just me?" So yeah, I don't know, but he would still go get them for me. You used to work with a Donnie? Yeah. He's a very nice guy. He's very sweet. He's a big Georgia Bulldogs fan, which is funny because we live in South Carolina. But he's got Georgia Bulldog flags on his truck and has one hanging off his house. He went to a game in Georgia, and I just watched him packing his truck with all kinds of stuff with Georgia logos, like the little seat cushion thing had Georgia Bulldog on it and all this, which is funny because he has chihuahuas. He has 2 chihuahuas, Baby Girl and Snowball, or Fifi and Snowball. Fifi's getting up there in age. Snowball is her daughter. Yeah, well, I know. I mean, I know he cares. So, but he's a very nice guy. He is. And I trust him enough to give him my debit card, and I know he's not going to take anything. I've even told him, have them give you like five bucks cash back and put gas in your truck. Granted, the gas station is like 30 seconds from the house. It's like you drive out to the end of our street and you take a right and you go down a hill and boom, the gas station's right there. So it's not even using like a buck worth of gas. But I was like, take 5 bucks, 5 extra bucks out for gas, and he never does it. Never does it. So, I know he's not going to steal what little money I have on there. And him and my other neighbor are the only 2 that I trust like that. Everybody else, I'm like, nope. If I don't have cash, I'm not sending you to the store. No, I don't. I can't get one because in order to put my dog outside, she has to go under my wheelchair to get outside. And with electric wheelchairs, the motors are under the wheelchair. They're under the seat. So I wouldn't be able to put my dog out if I used one. I mean, I could have 2 wheelchairs. Not that I could afford an electric wheelchair, but if I had 2, then I could use the electric one for wheeling around, and I'd probably be able to get in and out of my house. But um, yeah, Simi trained herself like a little circus dog. Once we got the kennel set up around the steps so that she could just go out the door, down the steps, into the kennel, do her business, and come back inside. She can't fit on either side. I have Medicare, yeah. She can't fit on either side of the wheelchair to get outside, so she has to go under it in order to access. So, yeah, I was like thinking, how are we going to do this? And I opened the back door, and whoop, she went right under the wheelchair and outside. I was like, okay, that works. So, yeah, she trained herself to do that. Like I said, sometimes she's too smart. Yeah, I am so grateful for the YouTube angel that bought me that kennel, because I had asked somebody to organize a fundraiser to get up about the kennel was like $130, and then I wanted some rebar stakes to secure it to the ground. And I said, there are all kinds of people that are doing fundraisers for thousands of dollars, and all I need is like maybe 300, because I wanted to give the neighbors, which we're going to have to set it up, I wanted to give them something for helping me. And the next thing I know, she was like, well, it's on its way to you. And I'm like, what? She's like, yep, expect it tomorrow. I'm like, oh my God. She bought the whole thing for me. I was like, holy shit. Because my yard's not fenced in. And for some reason, people in this neighborhood seem to think that it's fine to just have my doctor get you a chair. Yeah, that's not happening. My doctor is an asshole. And if I can't get to his office, he's not going to do shit for me. I already found that out. That's why I don't have gabapentin. Yeah, it was very nice. It was very sweet of them. They let their dogs run around loose in the neighborhood. So we always have this pack of dogs that runs around. And my dog, we've lived in this house. Well, I was out of this house for about a year, but altogether, I've lived here for about 8 or 9 years. And Simi has been attacked 3 times outside by dogs that are wandering through the neighborhood. and there was no way for me to get to her if a dog attacks her, because I have stone steps, cement stairs that go down the back door. There's not even a landing there. It goes from the utility room straight to down to a step. And with me being in the wheelchair, there's just no way for me to get to her if something happens. And there'd be no way for me to get her to a vet if she were injured. So I couldn't put her outside. I had to use pee pads in the house for a while until I got the kennel. So the only option that I had was to get some kind of kennel that she could just go down into. And that's what happened. Is I have like a 10 by 10 foot kennel out there for her, because she's not a big dog, although I really wish I could find some way to get it cleaned out, because it's getting kind of gross. But that's the only way I could keep her safe, because when my son was here, I didn't have to worry about it, because Simi doesn't stay outside for long. She goes outside, she does her business, she comes back in. I love that about her. The other dog we had for a while, Miha, she would go outside and just lay down. I'm like, will you just do your business so I can go back to doing what I was doing? But when my son would put the dog out, he'd watch to make sure that she didn't get attacked by anything. And if something did happen, he could run out the door and help her. Well, when I'm by myself, there's nobody to help, so I was terrified. I couldn't put her outside. And on a tie out, there's a post out there that the dogs kept wrapping themselves around. I wouldn't be able to free her. I wouldn't be able to unhook her from that or get her untangled. So I had to use those puppy pee pad things in my house, which I was not happy about. The dog was very confused, because she was house trained since she was 3 months old, so I didn't like putting her through that. And I didn't like having to clean it up, because when you're in a wheelchair, cleaning up that shit is a pain in the ass, literally a pain, because I have a bad back. So that lasted for about a month before I was like, how am I going to get the money for this damn kennel? And then bam, So I'm so grateful for that kennel, let me tell you. And my neighbor put it up for me, and I told him, I'll try and get you some money for doing it. And he was like, don't worry about it. He's so sweet. His name is Luke, and he's a very sweet man. And my mom ended up bringing over a card in a sealed envelope and said, here, give this to Luke. I'm like, okay. So I did, and she told me later there was like $50 in it that she gave him for helping put the kennel up, for putting the kennel up for me. She actually gave him and Donnie each a card this year. She left him here. She was like, you have to give these to Donnie and Luke. And I'm like, okay. She goes, it's not really a Christmas card, but it is a thank you card. And she goes, there's money in each of them. I gave them a little something for helping you all the time. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. So yeah, my mom is an awesome person. So I did get them. I gave them both to Donnie, because I don't have Luke's number, and it's hard for me to tell him when he's home, and I have no way to contact him. So I asked Donnie if he would run the card over to him, and he did. So yeah. Luke has a Rottweiler named Caesar. Caesar is Simi's boyfriend. They communicate long distance. And it's the only dog Simi doesn't bark at. And the other day, it was a week before last, I think, I put Simi out. And this is what happened. I'll show you. I look up, and there is a very large dog. That's how far his tie out reaches, from next door almost to my kennel. And he was trying to get to that kennel to be able to touch noses with Simi, but he was about 2 feet shy. But you can see how hard he's pulling on his tie out. He's leaning into it. I was not expecting that, because usually his tie out doesn't reach that long. So they either moved the end of the tie out, or they got him a longer one. And I have no problem with him being in my yard. Simi doesn't care. Simi doesn't bark at him or nothing. She wags her tail and she gets all happy. And I really wish they could play together, but Simi, if she's not confined or on a tie out or a lead, she's gone. She takes off. That's the one thing I couldn't train her not to do. And obviously there's no way I can chase her around the neighborhood. So Heifer, be careful with my stuff, you cow. Cat. Mine is the little brown one. That's Simi. And the big one is Caesar, the big Rottweiler. That's Caesar. He is so gorgeous. He's got to weigh close to 100 pounds. He's beautiful. Um, but yeah, Simi will perk up. Sometimes they put him on their front porch. They have a tie out front, and he'll lay on their porch. And as soon as Simi sees him through my window, she perks up and like watches him. It's so funny. So they have a little long distance romance going there. Romeo and Juliet from a distance, you know. Yeah, mine's the little one. She was like, "Hi." So so yeah, it was just so cute. That's why I took a picture of it. I was like, "Oh, Simi's boyfriend came to visit." Yeah, the only dog she really barks at if she hears a dog barking is one of the Chihuahuas across the street, Snowball. Her and Snowball do not get along. So, I mean, any other dog can bark in this neighborhood unless they're like within a couple of feet of my window. Then she'll kind of give a little burf, you know. But she hears Snowball barking and she's like, "Arr," and I'm like, holy crap. Because Donnie came to bring me my mail one day and his little dog follows him everywhere. And she came up on the porch and started barking at me. And I'm like, bitch, you're on my porch. Don't bark at me. But Simi was running around the house. And luckily I was holding on to her because she stuck her nose, you know, out the door to see this dog. Because Simi is one of those dogs that gets along with all of the dogs. Doesn't matter what breed, doesn't matter what size. She will play with them. She loves to play with other dogs. So she was like, "Oh, a new friend," you know. And that little Chihuahua snarled and snapped in her face. Simi holds a grudge. So now when she hears her, she growls. Okay, Kara. Yeah, see, I almost did it wrong. Get some rest, sweet dreams, and have a good Christmas, Kara. I will be live off and on all day today, so feel free to stop in and say hey. Yeah, it's 2:30 in the morning here. I've been going for 2.5 hours, so I'm probably going to end this and try and get some sleep myself. Sorry for the 10 people that are still here. But unless you speak up and give me something to talk about, I'm leaving. I do wish everyone a good holiday, though. Hope you get all your wrapping done. It's 2:30 in the morning, so you should prepare ahead of time. Yeah, I don't really talk on the phone too much. I do most of my communication through email. And my email is in the description if you want to do that. But I don't really give my number to too many people because I hate talking on the phone. I can type no problem. Well, it's painful, but you know I could type without a problem. I just you would think someone who likes to talk as much as I do wouldn't mind, but yeah, I'm not really a phone person. Yeah, I don't like texting on my phone either. I don't mind messages on my fingers are too big for that damn phone, and the text is too small. Even though I've enlarged it, so I yeah, I don't use my phone that often. The only person I talk to on it is my mom. And I only text like one or two people occasionally. I'm not one of those people that's on the phone all the time. Kind of like one of those weird anti-tech people, but I love my computer, you know. Because I can type 200 words a minute when my fingers are behaving themselves. My hands aren't hurting. I type like a motherfucker, but texting not so much. Now my daughter, my oldest daughter, she texts with her thumbs. I've watched her do it, and it's amazing. How do you do that? But she's got, for a big girl, she's got really skinny fingers, so I guess maybe that helps. Yeah, definitely. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. Hope you have a good one, or at least a peaceful one. And be safe. There's a lot of traveling going on. and there's a lot of bad weather in a lot of areas. So stay safe, people. And thank you for hanging out with me on Christmas Eve, Christmas morning. Appreciate that, even if you're not talking in the chat. It's fine. I am going to say goodnight, and I will be back later today. Good night, everybody.